Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bourbon Real Talk. Randy Sullivan here with my first former NFL player. Super excited about this. Jamar, and how do you say your last name?
Landrom.
Landrom is with us today, and he's going to tell us some very exciting stories. He's got a great backstory, and he's working on some good things that some of you out there may be interested in the coming months, because he's out there trying to change lives. We even got his business partner off camera, but you can't see him. If you did, you feel bad because he is shredded. Also, fat shout out, first time I've ever had my guests on my actual shirt. So for those of you who are listening and not watching, I have my workout shirt on that's sleeveless, but on the shirt is a picture of Jamar, and I would wear it to the gym, and every so often he would come on a day that I was wearing it at the gym.
Yeah.
And you could see the confused look on people's faces when they'd be trying to figure out why on earth this white dude was wearing a shirt of a black dude that's on the other side of the gym. I'm like, no, he's got a clothing company. It's fine. Or, you know, I'm a weirdo. Either way, I don't know. I took a picture of him. I had the shirt made. Why are you judging me? No, I'm just kidding. So to stay true to the format, Jamar actually does not drink, and because of his commitment to fitness, which is why he has abs. You can see it on the shirt. And I do not have abs because too many calories. But anyway, so we're going to check out today this Jefferson's presidential selection 16 year. So this company is they're a non-distiller producer. So as a business person, you may find this interesting. Not all whiskey companies make whiskey. Some of them source whiskey from other companies. And this company started doing it before it was, you know, really popular. Now it's become popular and all the good whiskey's been bought up.
Okay.
But this company was buying really good whiskey, high age whiskey, back when it wasn't popular to do that. So they have some bottlings that other companies would be really envious to be able to get. And this one is a 16-year-old bourbon, which is, you know, actually quite old, somewhere around 18 years. Sometimes they open the barrels and it's completely evaporated, what they call a phantom barrel.
Oh, wow.
So it can be expensive to make a whiskey this old because it may only have 5, 10, 15% left of the original fill in the barrel when they dump it after 16 years. But on the nose, this one's super, super interesting. So for those of you that have heard me use the word tannic, so whiskey can have kind of a bitter flavor.
Okay.
And that comes from the barrel because oak trees have an acid in them called tannic acid. And the term tan, that type of acid used to be used to tan hides to make leather.
Okay.
And so that's why it's tannic acid. And that can leach into the whiskey with aging. And so I do smell some of that. But this whiskey actually smells, I took it down to my wife to ask her what it was that it smelled like, because it smells like a Glade like air freshener plug.
Mm-hmm. And
I was like, I don't know which one, but I know it has the word breeze in the name, right?
Okay.
It's like, or it smells like, remember that powder that you used to sprinkle on the carpet before you vacuumed? It smells like that. It's so interesting. It's floral, you know, kind of smells like maybe deodorant or something. I know I'm making it sound bad, but it's actually really super interesting. I mean, it's a complex smell for, you know, a bourbon because you don't get this in a lot. But on the palate, yeah, there's all of that. There's some floral, fruity, but also there's some black licorice flavor on here that I'm picking up, and a what I call medicinal cherry. So you know how there's the cherry cough syrup, but it's got that medicine-y flavor.
Yeah,
it's got it's cherry, but it's got that like medicinal kind of characteristic to it. But really good bourbon. I paid $200 for it. I probably wouldn't buy another bottle at that price, but I'm not mad at it. It's kind of interesting. So I'm going to sip on this while I have Jamar tell his story. So, Jamar, you played professional football.
Yes, sir.
And what age were you when you started to get into football as a sport?
Well, the passion for it started when I was 6 years old. I played with my older brothers and the guys in the neighborhood, and I was the only kid, that was young, so they would try to find another kid my size. I always wanted to play with them. So for me, at an early age, I, found my gift that I was actually good at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I took football as the vehicle that I was going to use to make it out of my environment. Growing up in the city that I grew up in, not a lot of people, made it out. There weren't that many options that we can choose from. So football was something I fell in love with earlier in my life. Actually, 6 years old is when I actually decided that I wanted to pursue and make it to the NFL.
Wow. So what city were you growing up in?
Pontiac, Michigan, right outside Detroit.
Right outside Detroit?
Yeah.
And so we've done one episode of where we kind of talked about generational poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked a lot about how there are those neighborhoods that you can grow up in where there's almost pressure to stay part of the community and to not get to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
And that there aren't a lot of options, right? If you're either going to be, when I did the generational poverty podcast, the other person was not blessed with physical stature that you have, right? So he said, if you're not going to be a ball player, then it was drug dealer, and that was pretty much it.
Or rapper,
right?
Yeah, rapper. And, ball.
Well, you were Detroit, yeah.
So he's a rapper, or like you said, sell drugs, or that's pretty much it. I mean, we didn't see doctors, we didn't see lawyers, we didn't see businessmen,
right?
So to say. So it wasn't that many options for us,
right?
But I always had vision at an early age. I knew that if I can focus on something, and I visualized myself, seeing myself outside of my current situation, I knew that was just temporary. That wasn't going to keep me bounded by, my circumstances that I had then wasn't going to be my future. I had vision. I visualized myself playing in the NFL at an early age. I visualized myself going to college. I visualized myself being successful. So therefore, it was my escape to get me out of my environment.
Right. That's a great big why. But that's also an uncommon outlook for somebody that's so young, especially somebody that has so many negative examples around them. Were your parents kind of instilling that mentality in you that, that never give up, visualize and attack kind of mentality?
Well, my mom and my dad got divorced when I was early. My dad is successful. He's an 06 commander in the Navy. So it was inside of my genes from a standpoint of wanting to work hard and, overcome adversity. Like I said, my mom and my dad got divorced early, but I see my mom go to work to, work to provide for me and my brother, triples and doubles. So I seen that work ethic, and I seen that was something I didn't want to do myself when I got older, to spend all my time at work and not really be able to be there and be present for my own kids and my own family. So I also use that as motivation because I want to be able to provide for her, because at a young age, I recognized the sacrifice that she made on a day-to-day basis to be able to provide for me and my brother. So for me, it was one of those things to where it was as if, that I need to find something. I need to plug into something to where I can be able to escape, so to say, but also at the same time put myself in position to separate and break whatever it is, whatever this thing is going on. I knew in my heart it wasn't what life, it was more to life. I always thought it was more to life.
Was there an event or something that somebody said to you, or something that you can kind of put your finger on that gave you that mentality when you were a kid?
Man, I'm trying to think.
Or do you feel like it's genetic? Because I know you're super motivational for other people. I believe all people have that ability to get focused on something that's bigger than themselves, stay dedicated, and to move mountains, accomplish anything. What gave you that?
I think it's part of the environment. I mean, part of understanding who you are at an early age. A lot of people walk around and not know who they are. And one of my passions and gifts is, being able to speak life. Me and my business partner, we formed a company called Speak Life, where we go around and speak life to individuals. And at an early age, I recognized and knew that speaking life or understanding who you are was powerful. And I always had that confidence in myself to where, to tell you a funny story, when I was a kid growing up, kind of get off subject, but you can kind of understand that confidence is, I had a young girl that I liked, right? So, the old school saying where you circle yes or no.
Yes or no.
But I had the courage. I put $1 in there to try to, make it even better.
Yeah.
So she seen the letter. She ripped the letter and $1 up in front of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my confidence wasn't shot. I just started laughing and said, oh, well, I guess it's what it meant to be, and kept going. So I guess it was something I kind of naturally possessed. But at the same time, I had an older brother, and I grew up in an environment to where if you wasn't tough, if you didn't know who you are, you were gonna get humiliated. You were gonna, if you didn't know how to defend yourself, it was gonna be trouble for you. So I had to develop confidence real early, and kind of I borrowed my belief from him because he was strong too as well. He was, someone I really looked up to at the time. At that time I wanted to be like, emulate. But at the same time, it was always a competitive side of me and wanted to be better than him as well too, because he was my older brother. He used to pick on me. So I think just my environment, in the sense of my mom, and part of it being genetic. I mean, what's in you and what's inside of you is your DNA. It's a reason why certain people are successful in life, because they create a legacy, they create a thought process, they create excellence. Whereas if I think it was just some a part of me, to where what I've seen, my mom was doing it without even, she was showing me and teaching me without even saying anything. Was what her daily routine was. A lot of people don't understand that success is based off their daily routine. So what you do daily is what your kids is going to look at, not what you say. So I watched her daily, and that kind of helped shape and mold me as an individual, as a person, from a mindset standpoint.
Right. Well, that's awesome. So you get involved, you're playing football. I'm sure you're doing well. You start to get closer towards the end of high school graduation, and you've got college recruiters that are paying attention to you.
Right.
And what was that like?
Well, that process was kind of fairly new too, because I had an older brother before me, so he kind of knew too. He was recruited, but that process was awesome. Like I was talking in our conversation earlier, like everything that actually happened, like in my life, I expected to happen. So when it kind of got there, it was kind of like it's just a part of the process. For this, right? Yeah, it was time for it. So a lot of people don't understand about having confidence in arrogance. It's like if you visualize something you really believe and you act on it, then it has to happen. And it's just that simple. A lot of people don't understand that. So I already visualized the scouts coming to talk to me. I already visualized, me being able to go on these different college visits. Everything I did in my life, I visualized it, and it came into fruition. So for me, it was one of those things too where, it was just a part of the process. For my whole life, I never really got too high, and I never really got too low. And I always stay even keel, because things aren't as good as they seem, and things aren't as bad as they seem as well. So staying a level playing field kind of keeps you balanced, so to say, so you won't be all over the place when the highs and lows come.
Right. Yeah, I wish, and I plan on having my kids read the Napoleon Hill books earlier in life. And there was a book that got released, I think about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, that was one of his manuscripts that was previously unpublished. And he talks about the other self, and that times of stress will cause this other self to kind of take over. And it's very similar to the concept of, thoughts become things.
Right.
And, visualizing your goals, things like that. And that's something that I believe in. And as I've gotten to interview more and more people, I've realized that almost everybody that has a success story that accomplished something that was great, they had that focus, that where they visualized themselves accomplishing that beforehand, and they were so committed and dedicated to it. I also have never met anybody who did not come up against major obstacles along the way, but it didn't stop them,
right?
Because they had already visualized the success. This was just part of the process of getting there.
Right.
And I like to tell people that I'm like flowing water. Like, you can dam me up. That's fine. You can even stop me temporarily, but you're going to make a lake. And then I'm going to overflow those boundaries, and I'm going to flow somewhere else new. Right. And that attitude is something that's indispensable for anybody that wants to accomplish something amazing, like getting into the NFL.
Right.
So what colleges were looking at you?
So I had all the Big Ten. I was heavily recruited by Big Ten schools. You name it, MAC. Had some Big 12 schools, because I'm from the Midwest, so that's pretty much Big Ten territory in that area. So I had a couple of schools from the South, but it was mainly Big Ten schools. I was heavily recruited by all the Big Ten schools. Notre Dame was one of those schools as well outside of, but I mean, from every Big Ten school, I had letters. I had them coming up to to my high school. I actually went on a visit to Iowa, Michigan State. Those were my top two choices at the time. But when I actually did decide, Toledo offered me as a junior. And it was something about the coach. The coach was always there checking on me, a little bit more. He built that relationship, he built rapport with me. So I felt comfortable in a sense. Plus at the time, Toledo was the school I ended up choosing, but Toledo was a school at the time was beating Big Ten schools.
Mm-hmm.
It was beating the competition. So it was like, okay, I can go here and have that same exposure, so to say, at those schools that had as well. So that's what I ultimately made a decision to decide to go to Toledo. But I had, you name it, all the major D1 schools looking at me in that area, in that region.
Nice. And did you, as you were going through this process, when you start to experience success, especially in a suburb of Detroit, got all these people that are around you,
Mm-hmm.
there's people that want to glob onto that, right?
Most definitely.
And there's girls that want to jump on that bandwagon and all of that stuff. Do you feel like you handled that well in that environment?
Yes, my people who knew me always knew I was serious. They knew what I was about, so they knew not to even come at me with certain stuff, so to say. So when you
your boys weren't like, hey, let's go get high, let's go, skip school, let's do.
We might get into a fight if they asked me to do something. As far as when it came to deviating what I wanted to do, like they had that respect for me because they knew I was serious. I was focused. And when you said something about being focused, that's always one of my strongest characteristics, of being able to focus on whatever the task is at the time. So I was so driven. It was so embedded in me that nothing was going to stop me. And it wasn't going to be like me going to get high, getting caught doing something I had no business doing. Now, did I do stuff as a kid? Yeah, but I did stuff that I knew that I wasn't going to put myself in situations to hinder. It was always about the end goal. The end goal was the NFL.
Right.
So if I was going to do something, I knew some guys was going to, ride, and they was doing something because it was all around me. But I was like, no, I ain't going to go. I'm good. They was like, all right, we'll catch you later. It was never no pushback. Oh, you weak or whatever.
Right.
It wasn't no this and that. My guys, the guys I chose to hang around with, always respected that.
Now, where did your brother end up going to school?
My brother ended up going to Bowling Green out of high school, actually right down the street from Toledo.
Okay.
He ended up going to Bowling Green, and then he ended up having to transfer. He finished up at St. Francis, PA. That's right out. That's in Pennsylvania, right outside. Maybe probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours from College Station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not College Station, but what's the name of where Penn State is? I forgot.
You got me. I'm from Dallas, so I don't know any of those
College
cities.
Station, I'm thinking about Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's what I went to.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
I was like, I didn't hear that school.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, College Station. I'm like, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
It's something similar to that.
We'll cut all this shit out.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm guessing your brother didn't end up going to the
well, he actually had chances. Yeah, he was All-American going into his senior year. So he had chances. He just ended up having a stress fracture in his leg. So the stress fracture ended up kind of hindering him and such. And he ended up gaining some weight, and he wasn't explosive as he needed to be when he worked out for the Scouts at that time. He ended up doing better and prolonging after that, but he had a shot. He has, pro teams coming to look at him. And they came there just for him. He set a lot of records at his school because it was a smaller school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so what was your college career like?
Well, college career, like you said, you never met nobody who had to face adversity. So I went to Toledo for 2 years. I had to transfer because my position coach there at the school didn't recruit me. Because since he didn't recruit me, he had this guy that he wanted to kind of put in front of me and have us rotating. So I wasn't his guy. Like the person who recruited me was offensive coordinator / O-line coach, head coach, but I didn't really deal with my position coach. So most of the times, if you have a position coach who came to these kids' home and told their parents that he wanted them to come there, and he recruit a kid from his position that he actually coaches, he gonna go with that kid more because he built a relationship with that kid. He went in and said, and he told this kid parent that he's going to come, he's going to play, I'm going to do this,
right?
That.
So kind of made promises.
Yeah, he kind of made promises. So now, he's going to pick and choose him over whoever else is coming outside that he didn't technically recruit. So that's what I had to deal with. So I sailed there. I played against Larry Fitzgerald, Big Ben Roethlisberger, all those guys in college. So we, played significant, games and minutes and had wonderful stats there, but I didn't come there to rotate. I came there to start. So I had to transfer and I had to leave. So that was my first adversity I faced. I faced making a difficult decision to say, do I stay here, kind of wait my senior year and have it all about myself and possibly rotate with someone else, or do I leave and play out 2 years outright? I made a decision to leave. It wasn't easy, but it was, you know, it wasn't, you know, easy, but I think it was
It's
the right
part of
decision.
your path.
Yeah, it's part of my path.
Did the coach that you had the relationship with that kind of drew you to the school, was he trying to get you to make a different decision?
They didn't want me to leave. They was upset. I mean, because I was a big-time recruit coming in. You know, I had all these Big Ten schools looking at me, Big Ten offers. So I was a big-time recruit coming in. So they were upset. They didn't understand why. So my head coach was mad. He wouldn't release me to a lot of different schools. He wouldn't release me to those schools in the area pretty much. So I really was limited to where I can go at that time. So it all worked out how it was supposed to work out. You know, I'm not mad at anyone, you know, from that. I mean, but I think I made ultimately I made the best decision, you know, that was best for me.
Right, right. And so then you transferred from there to, what was the second
Tennessee
school?
State in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what position did you play? We didn't cover that.
I played DB. I played safety. Played safety, cornerback. In college, I played safety, cornerback, linebacker, every position pretty much. I moved me around because I was an athlete. I was big and I was fast, and I can do a lot when it came to football on the defensive side of the ball. The only position I didn't play was defensive line. I even lined up some plays at middle linebacker and brought 6 DBs in. So I was versatile. So they used me wherever the defense needed me at times.
Right.
Yep.
Physical, aggressive,
fast, smart, you know, can cover, can catch, do all those things. So it was one of those things where it worked in my advantage, you know, just to be able to move around like that, because I showed the NFL more things that I can do instead of just doing, you know, mastering one position.
Yeah. So Tennessee, you're there. How were you guys? Did you have amazing stats, but at the time the team wasn't doing well, or did you guys go far as a team too?
So it was a step. So it was D1 AA. And at the time, traditionally, it's a historically black college. So traditionally, we had a lot of players had success in the NFL. One of the famous ones is Ed Tutar Jones, who played for Dallas Cowboys. First #1 overall pick went to Tennessee State. Hall of Famer Richard Dent played for the Chicago Bears. Super Bowl 95 was Super Bowl 85, whatever year that was. They won MVP. So traditionally, our school had success, but before I got there, they had some down years. So me coming into was a situation to where we were in transition. You know, they had the coach. I had one coach my junior year, and I had a new coach my senior year. So we wasn't as good, so to say. But, you know, pro teams knew from, you know, the past about what you can get out of that college. So they came, I seen them. But the task of actually coming to really look to see wasn't because of the years prior, you know, we were down.
Right.
You know, guys weren't coming out. And then, I mean, people wasn't really producing. It was one of them transition years. You know, every school goes through it to where they up and then sometimes they're down. So it was just transition years when I came.
Did you know that when you were switching to that school?
No, I didn't. The coach told me exactly what I wanted to hear. He told me the way you play, you're going to go to the NFL. You're going to make all conference, all American. And I did all those things. So that's that type of thing that I was, you know, that's all I was wanting to do. Remember, the goal was at 6 was to make it to the NFL.
Right.
Not just to play college football.
Right.
So when he told me that, I was like, okay, we on the same page.
Right.
You know, plus I did a little research as far as the previous players that came out of there. I knew a little bit of the history. And also I had another guy who was telling me Tennessee State to be a perfect spot. So it was a guy that I trusted too at the same time. Plus like I said, my coach wouldn't release me to that many other teams, so I didn't have that many other options. I was going to go to University of Michigan. They told me I had to sit out for a semester and then I had to walk on. And they weren't going to put me on scholarship. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all recruited me in high school. I know what I can do. I'm like, walk on and say, well, that's the procedure that we make everyone go through. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I didn't want to deal with the politics, so to say, of having to try to come in and prove yourself and maybe not play. So I just went down a division and played still some good competition. I knew that if I, you know, produce and perform, I still make it to the NFL.
So what were the accolades that you received when you were in playing college ball?
College All-American, defense runner, player of the year runner-up, all conference both years, player of the week multiple times. So the accolade, I received pretty much every accolade that you can get when it comes to playing football.
Right.
All conference, All-American, runner-up with defense. The only reason why I didn't win that is because the guy who had that, I mean, their team had a better year than mine. And he honestly had a great year. So it was tough. So you either pick a guy who has on a good team, a team successful, and has a number, or you pick a guy that's on a bad team they pretty much even. So he's going to get the edge.
Right.
And I was okay with that because he put up the numbers too as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That happened to me once in real estate. I miss being the rookie of the year by like 2 transactions. But this dude like came into it with a bunch of money.
Oh.
And like hired all these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I came in with no money and just hustled. And he
Oh,
only beat me by two house sales. I was like, come on, you gotta, you know, he was with the winning team. He had he had all the good players around him, right? Like I drugged this team to the winning circle by myself. Right. And I didn't get that recognition, man.
But I mean, think about it. At the end of the day, I mean,
I'm still a little butthurt about it. I ain't gonna lie.
But yours is more impressive, man. Yours is something that you can hang your hat on to because it's real. You built it from a real foundation.
So. No, I try to console myself. But, so at this point, I mean, you're getting national recognition. You're, you know, you're on the news, things like that. Are you starting to meet NFL players at this point? Are you being exposed to that next stage of life? Are you starting to get a glimpse into that?
Yeah, I was fortunate because my old high school coach played in the NFL for 10 years. So a lot of the staff he hired was in the NFL too as well. So I was always around NFL players, so to say, since from high school. We played at Tennessee Titans Stadium. So it was NFL players on our campus all the time looking at them girls. So we had them girls. So we used to see them all the time on our campus. So they'd say what's up to us and talk to us a little bit. But yeah, it was college scouts that were coming to the school. They came there specifically to look at me at the time once I started getting the recognition. So I seen and talked to every team when I was there. All 32 teams came to check me out, talk to me and watch practice. Yes.
Is that normal?
No, it's not normal. Not for everyone gets that. So to say. So, I mean, some kids bring out the talent. I mean, bring out the scouts. Some don't. But for a school like Texas A&M, every school's going to go there. University of Texas, every pro team is going to go there. Yeah, it's going to go there. So it all depends. But for me, you know, things and stats I was putting out, they were coming specifically there to see me.
Wow. And that's got to be exciting and just that little bit of extra motivation that you need to stay on task and whatnot.
Most definitely. I mean, that dream starts, you know, seeming more and more real.
Yeah.
You start seeing that vision, and becoming more and more clear. So for me, it was like, you know, that fire was lit even more to the point where it's almost here, baby. And I can feel it, you know, and once you can feel something, you know how it is just from getting that pump in the gym, and getting them weights and you feel it and you're like, yeah, I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the same type of thing. It never leaves you. Or how it is in your field when you getting those deals and you're like, man, I want another deal. I got another deal. It's the same type of thing. It's universal, man. So
right.
You can definitely relate to it as well.
So I'm pretty curious because you're super focused. You're getting closer and closer to your goal, landed in a good place. But you're a married man, right?
Yes.
And how long have you been married?
Been married for 12 years.
12
I actually
years.
met my wife in college. So actually meeting my wife helped me focus more.
Okay.
I didn't have to worry about chasing tail. So you know how it is. I mean, they're coming at you. You know, they start seeing you. They're seeing the scouts. They're hearing about you. So the women are coming at you, so to say. But she kept me focused. She helped us keep me focused.
That's what I was driving at, right?
Yeah.
Because you're at that stage where you're getting recognition. You know, like it or not, women are attracted to success.
Right.
Plus, you're super fit, good-looking dude. So I'm sure that there was ample opportunity.
Ample opportunity. I went to listen. It was 17-1 at my college. So 17 girls to 1.
Really?
Yes. So can you imagine that? And at my college, I mean, they walked around in heels and stilettos, tight jeans, going to class like they're going to the club. So you had to really stay focused. I mean, we had a lot of fine women at my college. So, but like I said, it was always about the goal, the end goal. I got to get to the NFL because it was bigger than me. It wasn't just about me. It was about providing for my family, taking care of my mom. So I had to stay focused.
So I've encouraged my kids to, you know, I tell them you get one marriage chip, right? And so the longer you wait to cash it in, probably the bigger the prize, right? And so, and I tell my daughter, I want you to wait until you've seen enough of the man as an adult to know what direction he's headed in, right? If you pick too young, sometimes they don't know who they are, and it changes. And my son, I told him, I want you to get yourself established. And then that way, you know, you can bring somebody into a good situation. I did not do that. I've been married 21 years. I got married when I was 20.
Okay.
And so here you are, you know, burgeoning career about to explode. You know, you're going to the NFL. What was it about your relationship with your now wife that made you realize that this was the direction that you wanted to go, that you were going to make that commitment?
Well, because when I first met her, she just stood out. I mean, she was different in the sense that she knew where she was going.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to know where I was going because she wouldn't have tolerated or even dealt with me in the first place.
Right. So she had that confidence.
She had the confidence in what she was doing.
Right.
And where she was going. She knew she said, as soon as I graduate, I'm going to master's. I'm going to get my master's degree, and then I'm going to go right into my field. So she knew exactly what she was going to do. But she took care of business when it came to going to school, running track, and actually having a job and working on the side as well, too. So she had structure. She was taking care of business. And I knew for me, I grew up with my mom and my brother and my grandma, but I always wanted that family dynamic. So I always knew what I want out of life. I mean, having women, I did that. It was in spurts of my life, but I knew that wasn't a long-term goal for me.
Right.
So I kind of already knew what I wanted, just was actually finding the right person. When I seen her, I knew she was going to be my wife.
Did you see you guys get off track?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because of chasing women and all that.
You know it. Got off track. A lot of guys I seen get off track. I seen guys get off track in high school. I mean,
people that you thought could have gone to the NFL,
might have been better than me, so to say. But their focus wasn't there because they were coming back home because of the girlfriend or trying to, you know, get caught up with some girl, and now they can't, you know, she got them in some situation they can't get themselves out of. So it's always around. Guys are always going to get caught up over women because they don't know how to decipher what women, you know, what woman is for them.
Right.
I always had that discernment to be able to understand and know, like, if this woman was really going to be for me, or she just wanted to be around me because of what I possibly do or my gift, so to say.
Yeah, yeah. So you're towards the end of your college career. What was the NFL recruitment process like?
So they'll come in, they'll talk to you, you know, and see, and then you have some teams that will actually fly you out to you go on official visit. They'll bring you in, do a physical and stuff like that. Those are teams that were more serious about actually taking a look at you and maybe possibly drafting you. So they came in, they drilled you, they put you on the board, see what you knew. You know, they went back and did their research on you. They go back to your old high school, ask people how you were. So it's like a process of actually interview. They're going to invest, you know, possibly millions in you. So they definitely want to know your background and what you're actually, you know, what you have done, or, you know, your past history, what type of person you are. Right. So it's a whole process, like an interview process.
How many visits did you do?
I did one visit to Jacksonville, but I had a lot of teams that come in, sit down and talk to me. Jacksonville was a team who were really high on me, so to say. But Jacksonville was a team I actually thought was going to draft me. But I did one visit to Jacksonville, and then Pittsburgh was there. Pittsburgh is actually a team that I actually ended up signing as an undrafted free agent. But Pittsburgh was there a lot for me. Detroit Lions was there a lot for me. Dallas Cowboys actually was there a couple of times from Cleveland Browns, Tennessee Titans, the Giants were teams that I can, you know, just remember right off the top of my head.
Sure. So the reason why I'm asking is I had a friend that thought that he was going to play Major League Baseball. And he said, you know, the day of the draft, you actually, you don't know.
Oh, you don't.
You're sitting there and you're watching and you're waiting for someone to say your name, you know? And in his case, it didn't happen. And he said that he was disappointed, but in retrospect, he said he had the talent, but not the focus.
Right.
Right. And so tell me about that day for you.
Well, that day for me was, I mean, me, my brother, and one of my teammates was watching the draft. So it's kind of the same thing. I knew I wasn't going to go like the first day.
Right.
Because those were the top players. I kind of was seeing where I was at and seeing who was coming to talk to me in the process of what my agent was saying. But that second day was the day really for me was like, okay. And then I had a couple of teams call me and said they were going to draft me. So don't worry about anything. So I'm like, okay, we'll see how this turned out. And then the whole draft day went by and then I didn't get drafted. And I'm like, what? But after that, that's when the phone started reading all these teams trying to call me for an undrafted free agent. So it was kind of a disappointment at the same time, but at the same time, it was a relief, so to say, saying that was over. So now I can focus on, okay, who really wants me during the process of the undrafted free agent.
Mm-hmm. Explain that to the people, because I'm not sure that everybody understands that. So there's the draft, and there's some mechanism that they use to figure out which teams are going to pick in what order, right? And then so all of the picks, so to speak, had already happened, and you thought that one of the teams was going to use one of their picks to pick you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And you even had people you had an agent at this point.
I had an agent. I had a position coaches call me and tell me they're going to draft me.
You're being told you're going to be drafted, and you're watching,
right?
And it doesn't happen,
right?
What was that moment like? When it ended and you didn't get drafted, what was that moment like?
To be honest with you, I was kind of upset, you know, but I still had like, okay, I'm going to show all these teams who didn't draft me why I belong here, and make sure I let them know that they missed out. That was my mindset. My mindset was never to be like, oh man, it's over. It was always just on to the next phase. Like, this ain't over yet. Always still having that belief and that confidence and that faith that it was going to work out.
And so how much time elapsed between the end of the draft before you start getting phone calls?
Right after the draft ended, teams start calling my agent. You know, some teams will have my cell phone. Whoever number they have, they'll call. So the teams start calling. So it usually happens like 2 days after, and they try to put that pressure on you. We're going to offer you right now. What you going to do? You know, so to say. So Pittsburgh was the first team that called me after the draft. Jacksonville called me, but I was kind of like, no, I ain't thinking about Jacksonville because y'all should have drafted me. So I didn't really entertain that one. And then Kansas City Chiefs, the Giants, or another team that first day. And there was other teams that reached out to me after that. But I decided to go with Pittsburgh, you know, that day, because it was one of those things where I want to get this over and I want to know where I'm going so I can prepare. But I had to prepare. My agent did the, you know, background. Also, like I said earlier, my high school coach that played in the NFL ended up going to Pittsburgh as a scout. He played for the Detroit Lions. The GM at the time, or player personnel director for the Lions, got a job at Pittsburgh. He brought him as a scout. So he left my sophomore year to go be a scout full time. Yeah. So I was like, he has an inside. I want to go. Remember, you want that politics working in your favor. So when I heard Pittsburgh, I'm like, okay, well, I'll go to Pittsburgh.
And how does the compensation work when you're an undrafted free agent? Are you is your agent negotiating compensation? Or is there like a standard league amount that gets paid?
Well, you get a signing bonus. Okay, so you're undrafted free agent, you get rookie minimum contract or whatever the rookie contract is. So, but you get a signing bonus. So each team pay different signing bonuses, so to say. So each team may offer, we're going to negotiate this with you, we're going to negotiate that with you. But you're undrafted free agent, so you really don't have any leverage, so to say. So you kind of take whatever the team gives you.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like in real estate, there might be a house that's not the nicest house in the world, but if 5 people are trying to buy it at the same time, the price has got to go up.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So yeah, because I've heard there's a league minimum.
Right.
But I didn't know about the signing bonuses.
Yeah, signing bonuses, undrafted free agent, signing bonuses throughout the draft, all that. So
you go with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And it's your rookie year. Are you getting any time on the field?
So Pittsburgh was the first team I was with. That's the same year that Big Ben got into a motorcycle accident. Okay. So I went to OTA minicamp, right? And then we left and went to break. Well, that summer is when he got into a car accident. So 3 days before the actual mini camp, actual training camp, I'm sorry, they said that they were looking for a different person, like far as another quarterback. They're gonna have to let me go. I'm like, what? I'm like, let me go? I'm like, I just left OTAs. I just picked off Big Ben the last play of OTAs. I'm like, what? The coach said I was clearly better than even the guy you drafted. Like, what happened? So I guess the player personnel and the coaching staff, so they have say so. So on some teams, the coaches keep who they want to keep. On some teams, the player personnel directors keep, or whoever that is, the GM and all those guys keep who they want to keep, and the coaches got to coach them. But now it ain't like that. A lot of coaches want to have power over players they draft and who they coaching. But then it was like personnel
did what they wanted.
Did what they wanted to do, and they ended up going with some other guys. They said they played at a bigger school than me, and they were better than me in college. I'm like, huh? Because they played at a bigger school, even though that I was clearly faster, bigger than them, right in the flesh. So they were going off what they did in college, not what they seen right then and there.
Right.
That was their excuse. So I was devastated. I had to go back to Nashville with my college, and I had to get a job working at Budweiser. But I kept working out because I had workouts with different teams. And that's when I signed as Jacksonville on a practice squad my rookie year.
Did you get to keep the signing bonus from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, you keep the signing bonus is yours.
All right.
Yeah, signing bonus is yours.
That's
and the money you made through OTAs or whatever. So I signed with Jacksonville part of my rookie year. Then they sent me over to NFL Europe. And then I came back.
So that's kind of like a minor league for baseball.
Yeah, it's the other league. NFL Europe was a league that they used where I played over in Germany. And I played for the Frankfurt Galaxy. That's where Kurt Warner went over and played. So it was a league they were using actually players to develop. They wanted to see me play, so they sent me over here to play. And I went over. It was actually a great experience. I also get some more film too as well, in case showcasing if they didn't keep you. I came back on with Jacksonville, and then Jacksonville ended up drafting 2 safeties when I came back, and then they ended up drafting a linebacker who ended up being size of a safety. He was undersized, so they moved him safety. So
they got 4 safeties.
Exactly. They moved me to corner when I got to training camp. So we're gonna put you at corner. So what they were trying to do at the time was they were trying to get those guys to look because they drafted all those guys. So what it was, and they pulled me out at corner, and they thought that I wasn't going to perform. And I performed. I was shutting down they top receivers in practice were frustrated where they weren't catching passes for days because they were bigger receivers and I was a bigger DB, and what they were used to smaller DBs backing up and giving them cushion.
Right.
I just moved my feet and I used my hands well, and I can turn and run with them. So they got frustrated because they weren't used to that. Somebody being physical with them, and being able to run with them and stuff like that. So they were, the coaches and the guy like, dang, we didn't know he could do all this type of stuff and that. But unfortunately, ended up deciding to let me go. And then I worked out with teams, the same type of thing, and I got frustrated. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the CFL. I'm tired of sitting down. I'm tired of, waiting. And then as soon as I signed with the CFL, the Titans and the Buffalo Bills wanted to sign me. And I'm like, this dude wouldn't let me out the contract. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I went out, and then that November is when I proposed to my wife. And I told him I'm getting married July 2008. Is that a problem? And it was like, no, ain't a problem. So you sure? So summertime come around, I'm there. I had to leave for my wedding and stuff. They like, I come back, they like playing around. Say, you know what? I just got married. I don't have time for this. I'm gonna go home with my wife. And then after that, 3 months, starting to get my story, 3 months later, she got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So I had to make a decision to where I was gonna still keep pursuing the NFL and stuff like that. So she had got better, and I left and went to go to play arena because they canceled to keep some film going. And I was playing arena, and my coach was like, my agent, was like, Tampa Bay, I want you to come in and work out. And they want you to, if you run this certain tour, they're going to sign you. Well, my wife got sick again in the hospital. I didn't go. I decided not to go to work, to the workout. I decided I had to be there with her. And that was pretty much the end. I didn't, I was pretty much not necessarily, I had to walk away not on my own terms. I had a lot. Because I knew Tampa Bay would have signed me because I had the film and I was going to run a 40 time. Run 4 or 5 in my sleep. Right. So to say. So that started the whole different, trying to figure out my purpose from there. Who I was going to be, who I need to be. And that started on a journey of me becoming who you see on that shirt, Mr. Let's Go. Right. Yeah. So.
Nice. So during all of this time frame, you're, in Europe, you're all over the U.S., you're around all these NFL players. Do you have like a interesting, entertaining story that you can share?
Man, we had some characters.
And you don't have to share any names.
Yeah, I'm not going to name. I'm not going to name drop.
But that way you can just go buck wild and tell the craziest story you got.
Yeah, I'm not going to name. The craziest story I had was, one of the stories was we were in Germany. And there was 2 offensive linemen, right? And, they're big guys.
Big boys.
So we're in Germany, we're in this club, and they told us to stay out of this area. It's the red light district. I know you know about the red light district or whatever. So we're in the red light district in the club. We stand out like a sore thumb. Right. So they in there talk to this girl, and he's about your size. I was like 6'5", right? Two of them 6'5", big dudes. They in there talking to him, his girl, and they like, man, whatever, get out. They drinks, the German beer is strong over there. So they're like, man, get out of my face, whatever, little dude or whatever. So he went to go get his buddy, and I guess the guys that got into a fight was cage fighters. Man, they beat them guys up so bad in there. And I didn't see, I got the back end of the story, but I seen the actual the fact of them guys coming in. I'm like, what happened? I mean, they face all beat up and bloody, and other guys on my team told me like, well, they was messing with these guys' girls, and they thought they was little. These guys ended up being the cage fighters and beat both of them up bad. So, they was embarrassed. They didn't want to go out no more.
I bet.
And then from that, so also another fun story, the guys over there, they had they put strips of red taping around the lights. Mm-hmm. They called our fort a red light district. So we stayed in the hotel. So we had girls, we had women all throughout there the whole time in our hotel room. I'm like, what's going on, man? You'd have thought. So guys really lived it up and had fun over there. And as far as the NFL, it was the funniest story was when I was in Pittsburgh, and we were at practice or whatever, and we had some characters, so to say. And Troy Polamalu is a guy who really don't say anything. He's soft-spoken or whatever. And all of a sudden, you just see you on the field and you see this beast unleash out. And, I'm like, what? He don't really say anything. And then my guy was like, oh, yeah, that's Troy. That's Troy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, man, Troy a different dude. So yeah, he was a different dude. Like, you just see a beast. He's just so soft-spoken, and you just see him, like, aggressively just slamming. And I'm looking like, so that was, that was like, I mean, but you would see him in there, and then you would see him, he had his long hair. Mm-hmm. Before he was on the head, shoulder hair. This guy, he brushing his hair. I'm like, what? Like, this dude is weird. And like, what's wrong with this dude? You know what I'm saying? But he was a beast. He's all quiet,
soft-spoken, brushing his hair.
He was a beast on that field. I mean, so I played a lot of different characters. So to say, a lot of the stories I ain't gonna say on here because I don't know who's listening.
Oh, nobody listens. You can tell all the crazy
some
stories.
might get my own self in trouble.
No, I ain't trying to get you in trouble. Your wife may watch it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But but any of the NFL player stories, you can just tell those without names.
Yeah.
You leave out the location and names. You went to so many places, no one's gonna know who it was.
No one's gonna know who it is.
Yeah. So, no, that's awesome. So, you have kids?
Yeah, I have two boys.
Two boys. How old are they?
14, and I have a 7-year-old.
Nice. And now you are transitioning, right? And so you had some injuries too.
Yeah, I ruptured my patella tendon. I actually did that after I was playing. Ruptured my patella tendon. It was an old football injury, but I did it actually with my wife's little brother, trying to push him. He was playing at Texas Tech. And I was pushing him and challenging him, and it was a freak injury, and ended up hurting my knee. But me hurting my knee actually was, one of the starting points to get me on a path of doing something different and really discovering who I was during that time of injury and laying in the bed, so to say. Another vision of me formulating that which you see right there, the motivation and really taking that to the next level.
Because that injury was something that you kind of knew you weren't going to be able to go back into the NFL and compete at the same level that you did.
Well, pretty much after me being able to, my wife being sick, that's when I was pretty much done. I had to walk away. I had to be there for her. I mean, that was difficult in itself. We had to overcome that. She ended up dying. I mean, almost dying from getting sick. She got down to 79 pounds, so to say. So we had to work our way back to health. So that's when I decided no longer to even pursue playing anymore.
Right.
Put her as a priority for me and going forward.
So what are you doing now?
We're doing a lot of different stuff. Like I said, my business partner is here over there, but and then we formed a company called Speak Life, where we're going around and doing consulting for individuals, for businesses and stuff like that. We have a program where we develop, it's called EFIC. We use 8 F's to really help an individual define who they are and make them a force in the universe. We have a mobile money platform to where we are targeting businesses to help them, small business entrepreneurs, to give them a bigger voice in their space. We have our own CBD line that we had just launched as well. First product is called Plant-Based Junkie, but our first product is a topical pain cream that you use as well. So we're gonna come out with an energy component of that, sleep, and also hangover. So this is actually fitting for this show.
Hey.
Yep. So hangover product.
Yeah, I try to avoid hangovers by, drinking slow.
Right.
Yeah. When my friends are like, I'm going to do a shot, I'm like, that's a bad idea.
Right.
You're going to end up with hangover. So, wow. So that's a lot. So you've got kind of a consulting, motivational speaking type business that you've got going on.
Yep.
Right? That's interesting. So there's a lot of small business owners that watch my podcast.
Okay.
So where would they go to get information about this mobile money platform?
Well, I can leave a link in the back.
Okay.
A link in the comments or wherever you do it. But
yeah, we'll put it in the comments, the show comments.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll use a website or whatever to give them the link, and they can go straight there and look at all our services or whatever, so they can see we have multiple services on there. It'll also link them to our products too as well.
And then CBD oil.
CBD. I mean, CBD is big right now. I mean, especially in a lot of people don't understand CBD. CBD derived from the hemp plant. Okay, so hemp and marijuana plant are cousins. So you have the same effects from a health standpoint without the THC. So a lot of people are dealing with, different things when it comes from inflammation. It comes to dealing with pain. They have a lot of health benefits. So the CBD is the new wave when it comes to health. And our company name is Plant-Based Junkies. So CBD is derived from plants. So being a plant-based junkie, so to say, fit well with the CBD. So it's something that's already hot, it's buzzing. So it's a wave that's coming. The next 2 or 3 years, they're predicting that it'd be a multi-billion dollar industry.
Now, everywhere I look, there's a CBD store.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, like I tried the sublingual drops for inflammation because I lift heavy, so my joints sometimes get a little achy and then inflamed, and I didn't feel nothing. But I did a topical CBD on an injury, and it took it out. Took it out.
Oh, I should have brought you some. I'm gonna definitely give you some.
Yeah,
so you can better try it out.
So that's a product I can, from personal experience, get behind. Behind. And what else y'all got going on?
I mean, pretty much that in a nutshell. We do speaking. We do speaking engagements. Like I said, we do one-on-one coaching clients. We can do the physical part. We have a personal training group or do group training. I mean, we pretty much do, and I usually utilize our
personal development.
Personal development, speaking life. What that means is finding an individual wherever they're at, whether they need business consulting, or they need resources to be able to get better from a health standpoint, whether it be from a mental standpoint, helping, mentoring kids, helping them understand who they are, so the nature. So it's a big umbrella, but it's something under there to be able to fit any person, any industry at any time that they're looking for.
You can help them.
Yep.
That's awesome. So if people want to get in contact with you,
contact with me, they can follow me on social media, Jamar Landrom. Instagram, Mr. Let's Go with 4 O's is the best way, social media platform as well. And also we'll provide our information so they don't have to be trying to listen to me and write it down. Or our business phone number they can contact to us as well. Okay.
Yeah, we'll throw all that in the show comments. So I've been a supporter. I've got my Let's Go shirt on.
A supporter from day one.
Yeah. And then if you want more information about Bourbon Real Talk, you can find us at bourbonrealtalk.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram /Bourbon Real Talk. And you can also search for us on YouTube. You can search for us on any podcast player. And if you want to make show suggestions or you think you'd be a good show guest, you can go on the website and submit for that. And if you have ever had any affinity for me at all in your heart, it would be amazing if you would subscribe to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the podcast on whatever podcast player that you consume podcasts on, even if you don't actually listen every week. Because the algorithm that determines whether or not they're going to tell other people about my podcast focuses heavily on how many subscriptions I have and also on reviews. So I need reviews. So if you have just a moment, please go out there and throw a review up. It's going to help me to find more listeners, and we're going to slowly change the world. So unless you have something else that you want to add, we're going to wrap it up.
Pretty much, man. It was excited to be on here, so to say. appreciate you bringing me on this platform to be able to share my story.
Sure.
To be able to, just kind of give people insight on who I am. And if you out there, man, and you trying to accomplish something, make sure that you stay focused, make sure you know exactly who you are, and know that you can accomplish anything you put your mind to. It's not a cliche. Have a vision, stay focused, make sure you put people around you that are going to feed you, that's going to speak life to you, and that's going to encourage you on a day-to-day basis. Make sure that those people are the right people that's going to also not just talk, but walk too as well. So, as I always say, let's go.
And as I always say, if you woke up this morning and you're unsure whether or not anybody loved you, just know that I love you. And I'll see you next time on Bourbon Real Talk.